Welcome back, rankers. New specs. The dog sat on the old ones and broke them. True story. Now, what do you think? Do I look like Pro Blogger? Or Trevor Young? Anyway. They look huge on camera, these glasses. Anyway, not to worry. I wanted to talk to you today because we've had a couple of clients recently that have gone to new sites and they've rung up 24 hours beforehand and said, oh, by the way, we're launching our new site tomorrow. It's like, what? And for whatever reason, politically, internally, otherwise, they've had to go ahead and do it. That's not a good plan. And when I say a new site, I mean everything from maybe just a redesign and keeping the same content, or a redesign and replacing content, or writing new content for the front page. These things can be very traumatic when you rely on your rankings for business. And we've had, I reckon, at least 3 clients come to us recently. And you should always be monitoring your rankings, getting an idea of what you're ranking for, and keeping an eye on that when the new site goes live. There are a whole bunch of tools to do that. Now, if you do go live and you don't follow these steps, or you haven't followed these steps, try to use these steps I'm about to teach you retrospectively, and your rankings should come back. Okay, so a little bit different today. No web pages. Look, we've just got this lovely screen. So, 8 pro steps to keep your rankings when you're redesigning. What we see a lot of web developers do, because there's a lot of them out there that don't care about Google, they tend to not use robots.txt on the development site. And for your convenience, they put it up somewhere, usually at your company name dot their web development name, and they don't have robots.txt and they don't noindex the pages. Why is that a problem? Well, because Google's going to come along and index all those pages on the development staging site, which means all your content is just going to be duplicated, which means Google's got to make a decision on which page to rank, the development page or your existing site, if it's the same or similar content. Best practice, block Google from the development. Now, what we see the same companies doing is they forget to remove those things when they move the development site to the live site. And the consequence of that is, of course, is that you disappear from Google altogether. Now, we've seen this happen with some big sporting sites. And fortunately, though, if you're onto it, you can fix it pretty quickly. 3, a lot of sites, they haven't got the content ready yet, but we're going to have that page there. The internal content committee has decided that we need to have a page on product specifications for our blue Duvalaki. But we haven't got them yet. So look, put the page up and keep it empty and we'll put it up. Just put content coming soon. No. Big mistake. Do not have a bunch of empty pages on your site. That indicates low quality. You don't want to be hit by a panda update like some sites were again last week. So no content coming pages, please. It's the equivalent, the 21st century equivalent of the 20th century under construction and the little man with the shovel. Don't do it. Spider your existing site and back it up. Now, what I mean by that, there are a number of tools that you can get out there. There's, if you're on a PC, there is a thing called Xenu. If you're on a Mac, there's a thing called Integrity. So there's a bunch of different tools out there. And basically what they do, they go and get all your URLs. The other thing that you should do from your hosting company is download all the files, including the database file, and just back it up somewhere securely. So if something goes horribly wrong, you can quickly get back online, all right? The reason that you need to know where all those URLs, your existing URLs are though, will be made clear in a couple of points. If you're going with new content, have a long, hard think about that if you've got really good rankings and it's your front page that's ranking and you decide, you know what, yeah, we're number 1 for that really tough keyword, but let's update the language on the front page. What the hell? I've seen many sites do this and it doesn't end well. So if you're going to do that, you really need to weigh up, is it worth it? Okay? And if you are going to change your content, especially on your front page, try to replicate the keyword density that you have there now. That doesn't mean you have to have the same number of keywords. Just the proportion of the importance of the keywords to each other is similar to what you have now. And tag crowd robots.txt.com is a site you can use to do that. And also, please, 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 replicate your page titles. If your pages are ranking now for the right keywords and you aren't changing the content on the pages, have the same page titles. If you are changing the content, your page titles are going to need to reflect the new content. Does that make sense? And make sure you get your keywords in your page titles, of course. 6, check the new site for errors. So you've got your dev site up there. Make sure you run those tools over it that I told you about before. But also get your web developer to have a look at a thing called, if it's on Apache, the HTTPD error log, just to see if there are any errors that these tools, because these tools won't pick up all the errors. So those other logs on the testing site will pick up the errors. And there might be little things like missing icons, or it might be things like the server can't render the site properly or the page that you, the user, don't see, but there is an error at the back end. Also, at that point, under errors, I would put load times. Make sure you're checking the load times and the speed of the site. And compare it to your existing one. 301. Now, before the site goes live, get ready with your 301 file. And basically, your web developer should know what that is. If they don't, then come to us. All that stuff that you did earlier, collecting all the URLs of your existing site, you're now going to, with 301, permanently redirect all those URLs to their new equivalent pages on the new site. Because quite possibly, if you're moving from, say, Joomla to WordPress or a HTML site to a content management system, all your URLs are going to change. Where possibly you could try to keep them as they were, unless you're doing it for a very good reason. If you are doing it, you need to 301 the old ones to the new ones. The reason for that, and this is what happened with some of these sporting teams that I was talking about before, and I've seen it happen a million times, well, maybe not a million, is that Google all of a sudden knows that site. It knows your site, and it has known your site for years. If you all of a sudden switch off all those web address, all those URLs, all those pages, and you put them at a new URL, well, Google doesn't know that. All Google sees is that the content that once knew is all gone. Now, some web developers will say, oh, yeah, but it'll recrawl the site in a couple of weeks. Well, yeah, it will. But what does that couple of weeks mean to you as a business without rankings? By 301ing them, you will have the best chance of your rankings not even changing a bit, especially true if you're not actually changing content. And this is external URLs that you do this as well, because there'll be other sites that might be backlinking. So they'll be backlinking to an old page. So if you 301 that page to the new page, then those backlinks are fine. You don't have to go around the world and say, hey, can you change that backlink to my new, I upgraded it. You don't have to. Finally, and this is the thing that you got to do, you watch Google. Okay, and by that I mean watch the index with site:/yourwebaddress.com. Please don't type that in. Please type in your web address. And also, especially, Google Webmaster Tools. You want to look at two things in Google Webmaster Tools. You want to look at, under health, you want to have a look at the errors under health, most importantly. And also, you want to look at, under optimization, have a look at HTML suggestions to see if anything pops up there. They're the two main areas. You may also want to keep an eye on index, the index status under health as well, because that will tell you a little bit about the way Google's spidering. And if you're really, really keen, have a look at crawl stats just to make sure that the speed of the bot crawling your site, doesn't all of a sudden take a giant leap because the site's all of a sudden slower. But hopefully you've already checked that in when you've done your error checking and those sorts of things. Hopefully that's helpful, and we'll see you next week. Thanks very much. Bye.